So I just created new project, and I'd like to do a quick overview of this homework assignment 3. So let's just say View Solution Explorer, quickly add new file. It will be C++, it will be named the main CPP, and I will save it under source subfolder like this. So again, quick demo from homework. So under other windows, I can go to web browser. Oh, sorry, I need to make a connection. So this is our current assignment. Assignment 3. And we have this formula that I wanted to do a very quick demonstration. Right here it says time equals distance divided by velocity. So I just want to very briefly jump to this issue and talk about this, right? So this is our formula. Okay, so what we do is that according to the assignment description, the distance, if I use the distance, it should be double. Okay, well, perhaps velocity or speed can also be a double. We'd like to initialize these variables. Say the distance is 60 miles, right? And let's say that the velocity is also 60 miles per hour, ph, right? And then time, we'd like to be able to print time in integer form, right? We would like to print time, and if we compute it like this, we'd like to display. So this would be if I compute time like this without yet specifying what time is, right? This is going to be, perhaps I could use a double here, right? So of course this time is in hours, right? But if I want to change it to minutes, so I mean, and I've seen somebody submitting a homework like this, printing integer value of time, like this, right? New line. We'll say, I mean, we're expecting minutes. Minutes. So then to make it look like minutes, we can multiply by 60, right? That should be rounded properly with 0.5 addition, which we discussed last week. Right, so then we just say return 0. Right, and if I run it, of course I need to include IOStream over here to make it look or compile properly. Right, so I compile, and then after I run it, oh, I forgot the semicolon somewhere. Okay, very good. Right here, yes, my usual mistake, missing semicolon. Build again. And you see that this prints 60 minutes, which is expected, right? So this is expected. So right now, this is what it's printing. However, so somebody has submitted this. So they made conversion to int over here. I think they did it like this, right? And here simply printed time multiplied by 60. So it's again printing 60 minutes. But if I change to 30 minutes over here, I mean 30 miles. 30 miles at 60 miles per hour. This should give me, give me like a half hour, basically answer, right? So it still says 60 minutes. So this is where the problem is, right? It shouldn't be saying 60 minutes because what's happening is that we're basically if we're remember this integer time is still in hours, right? So this answer is correct. It's still printing 60 minutes because what happens? We say distance divided by velocity. So it's 30 divided by 60. This will be 0.5. And then 0.5 plus 0.5 gives me 1 hour, right? Then converted to integer, it remains 1 hour. So the whole point is that obviously to be able to do everything properly, we need to include multiplication by 60 to convert to minutes before we convert to an integer. That's just my point. This is my whole point. Let's see how this works. Right, so now it prints 30 minutes, which is what it should be, right? So basically, keep everything, keep the double values, basically all the way until we print it. Okay, so here we just, we're if again, once again, if we drop this right from here, we're talking about hours. And then we get rounded minutes, and they're very roughly rounded, which is all not very right, and then multiplying it over here by 60 just gives you the wrong answer. So it's just like this narrowing conversion from a double to an integer. We have to be careful about this, right? So we better keep this for, if we multiply it by 60, and this is still everything, this entire computation is done in doubles, which is very precise, very accurate and everything, but we just want to drop the fractional part. We want to round it, so we simply convert our time to an integer, right? And remember how we said that to suppress the warning, we can say int to tell the compiler that we understand what we're doing. And this way, of course, we get the minutes. So just something to remind you that because this computation is right, the formula is correct. We add 0.5 for the reasons of rounding rounding up, like we expect the rounding to work, because otherwise conversion from double, which is highlighted right now, everything highlighted here is double, right? Because double divided by double multiplied by 60 plus double. It's all double data type. Gets converted to an int, fractional part is dropped because we want rounding up as conventionally done. We add 0.5, right? Then we convert it to an integer, which makes it a narrowing conversion because integer data type is smaller than the double, right? And so, but as long as we computed minutes before we convert it to an int, it's good, right? So that should work. So this is just something I wanted to highlight because, like I said, what people did was this. A couple of people submitted homework like this. It doesn't work. because you need to compute minutes before you convert to an int, and then everything is fine. Now I'm still having it in terms of hours, and it's just very rough, right? So if I, for instance, if I say I travel 28 miles, right? 28 miles at say 65 miles per hour. This is actually exactly my commute on Route 24. 28 miles at 65 miles per hour if I go at the speed limit. And then if I build this and I run it, look how I convert to an int prematurely before I got my minutes. If I run this, it gives me 0, right? So what happens? This actually prints, right now, this prints 0 minutes if I run it, which is obviously incorrect, right? So, because what happens? 28 divided by 65, roughly 0. I don't know, 0.3, 0.4, right? Plus 0.5 gets gets converted to an int, from double to an int. All fractions are dropped, 0 remains, right? So I get 0. 0 times 60, 0. Incorrect. However, if I change this to move conversion to minutes before I convert to an int, so now it's minutes, and I build again and run it, it prints 26 minutes, which is what is expected, right? So now it's printing 26 minutes, which is correct. Okay, right? And yeah, so that's just a quick highlight of those issues, because, and I keep saying all of this because this type of conversion happens very often. You will see it in your real life if you work in different types of applications. This conversion with going from double to an int with addition of 0.5. All these formulas are used very often, because oftentimes we want to be able to go to display values with different type of precision in different data types. So just be aware of it, and of course testing. In terms of testing, I would always try to test it with like this, right? So that should always give me 60 minutes, right? 1 hour. So I build it, I run it, I observe that yes, it gives me 60 minutes. I try to divide by 2, that should give me 30 minutes, right? So just quickly test it like this. And you see that oftentimes I can do my testing, so that prints correctly right now, 30 minutes. Sometimes it's easier just to hard code specific values and test with margin values here and there, setting it to 0, to 1, to the same values, to half, quickly test it. Or, for instance, multiply by 2, and that should give me 120. So I do some testing here. Right now it prints 120, and that's what is expected, right? So prints 120 minutes right now. Okay, so that's just a few notes about the homework, and about testing, about making sure that everything works, we should continue now with our new material.